Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is when you're getting a chance to take a look at this. My name is Zela Fashat. I'm with my colleague Karen LaPlante, and we have the opportunity to talk with you about designing effectively for future learning. So we're actually going to make this two parts. The first part will be talking about badges, microlearning, individualizing learning. The second part will give you an opportunity to take a look at AI tools and Chat GPT. So at any rate, Karen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you.
Hi, and welcome. I'm Karen LaPlante. I'm a retired IT faculty, full-time IT faculty, teaching in Minnesota for almost 30 years. Since I retired, I now teach part-time online at several schools in Minnesota, and I work in developing curriculum with faculty experts in the field and new emerging areas in IT. Cybersecurity and data analytics are two of our top things that we're creating content for. So I'm glad to be here today, and I'll turn it back to Zela.
All right, and I am Zela Fashat. Again, Minnesota State retired. I've been both actually all the roles of being faculty, a dean, and having the opportunity to work with faculty development over the years from the system office to be able to support teaching and learning. Right now, Karen and I are both working with Innovation Synergy, which is a company that we have both in the US and in Greece, the opportunity of designing online courses that are the future of learning, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through here. I'm presenting from Athens, Greece, so I'm going to turn my video off. Karen is actually presenting from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. We were both bright enough to get out of Minneapolis because they're getting snow tonight. So at any rate, that gives us an opportunity to warm up and be sort of more normal that way. So everybody who's back in the cold areas, I'm sorry, we feel badly for that, but let's warm up by thinking about the future and letting our minds go a little bit as to all the changes, all the things that we can do to deliver significant learning. All right, so I'm going to actually, let's see here. I'm going to get rid of my video and just to give us a little bit more of the bandwidth, and I'll also stop Karen's video too, just to make sure that we've got that. So at any rate, okay. Let's take a look at what part one is. Again, it's going to be badges and micro-credentials. We're also going to be taking a look at individualized and micro-learning. So we're going to talk for a moment about predicting the future by actually reflecting on the past. So if you follow along on this table that we've created, the traditional model of the past is sort of a one-size-fits-all learning experience. It tends to be backward-looking. Power is in the control of the institution. It decides what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. It will make you wait to the next semester. It's going to make you wait and take courses in a particular order, which isn't all bad. And it really asks the question, what do you want me as a student to do to graduate? Just let me know and I'll do it and get out of here. All right, not that bad. Graduation and degree is the completion of those is the focus. And we sort of measure everything based not on achievement of what you came there to do, but as to what the institution wants you to do. And that is get a degree, get an award of some sort, certification, and then move on and come back and do it again and advance yourself that way. Progress is based on earning grades, with the end result is sort of the GPA. If you skip over to the future model, the end result might actually be a list of mastered skills and competencies that it's connected with based on what you learned. You have the opportunity, instead of getting the degree, to earn badges or micro-credentials for outcome and competency mastery. Instead of what do you want me as the student to do to graduate, it answers the questions, why do I need to know this? How will I use this? Because the learner needs to be a part of what's happening. And the power for the future model is controlled by the learner. There's a framework, that the institution creates. However, the learner is going to begin to dictate a lot more about what they're going to be doing. We'll talk about that as we go through here. And then finally, instead of one size fits all experience, we really take a look at more of a customized, individualized microlearning. It tends to be forward looking. What do I need to do to be able to be successful in my career? Karen, there's a few more on the next slide. Let's take a look at those. Providing a great experience in the traditional model, forming communities for residential students. And as you know now, we don't have as many residential students. That's dropped. We have more students who tend to be an average age of 30 to 40. Those people are coming back. They're needing to revamp and really take a look at what it is that they need to have for their work. We sort of thought the traditional model was going away to college, and learning was purchased by purchasing a textbook, attending lectures by a professor expert, writing papers and taking tests. That's old style. The future model is going to be more mobile. Everything's at your fingertips. The design of courses using open source materials, student research topics, collaborative partnerships, and integrated team-based learning. The traditional model was a slower return on investment. You went away, you spent 4 years or 2 years, you graduated, and then you applied what you knew when you hit the work world. Sorry about that, it was a little tough to say. And today, going forward toward the future, it's a faster return on investment. Learn today, use it tomorrow. How can I be working while I'm going to be able to attend class? All right, so let's dive into this future model. What is the future of higher education? Well, the focus is going to include individual pathways so students can prepare for future lifelong learning. The institution and the student actually form better partnerships than it has in the past. Rather than the institution having the power, students will have as much power, and it'll be a shared power experience. A network is going to support students, whether it's on campus or online. Services are going to be created to assist students, such as improved registration, transfer, assessment, mental health counseling, preparing students for their careers in better ways, because you've created partnerships, you've created internships, and there's going to be more communication between institutions, because students will be picking and choosing courses or experiences at different institutions and combining them together. If you take a look at the academic and career preparation and success, those areas will be improved. Also, providing best partnerships and employment results will actually attract and retain students. When you know that you have a 96% chance of getting a job, you're going to take a look at that institution a lot more closely than any institution, 2-year, 4-year, that isn't telling you what your chances are of really getting a job. Career and technical programs do a great job of this already by really telling people what their graduation rate is and what their placement rate is with employers. As a dean at a 2-year career and technical program college, one of the things that was extremely important to me was students were asking, how and when will I get into a workspace? And a lot of our partnerships that we created were great internships with companies that would actually hire the students on the condition that they would finish up their degree in the 2nd year. So after a year, they were already working, making money, and a raise was coming at the end of the next year when they graduated. So we also want to improve know that we need to improve the process to access credit for prior learning. We really are finding that students are going to be coming in through multiple portals, with a greater number of learning portals being accessed by students. Institutions need to really improve the process for measuring prior learning to provide a seamless entry so that students can demonstrate the learning they've already mastered outside of the standard transfer curriculum. New technologies are being designed to meet the needs of the new ways of learning. And so consequently, students are picking things up quite a bit of the time and being able to bring those experiences through prior work experiences and also through other learning educational kinds of experiences. And we're going to need to find ways for them to demonstrate it, because we can't expect that these students are going to go back to the beginning and start at the beginning and work all the way through. That means we need a lot more flexibility. The other thing that's out there, and you see it all the time, is about lowering the cost for education. And so we're going to need to find ways to be able to lower the costs. Students want to pay for what they need to succeed. They don't want to subsidize experiences for others. They're going to buy their device. They need the internet connection. They have materials. They have equipment or tools needed for their programs, but they only want to pay for this streamlined content experience. And they're not going to be paying for all of the other aspects that'll be happening on campus. Most of you, when you think about it, and the pandemic kind of taught us a lot about this, one of the things that we started to take a look at is what kind of a store do you go to when you buy things? Do you want to be pampered? Do you want to have that experience? Some will. Some institutions will continue that. But for the most part, you have a lot of people who are in their 30s, that they have families, they have outside responsibilities, they have work, they've got all these kinds of things they have to do. They don't have the time to take advantages of those other kinds of opportunities. All right, Karen, let's take a look at the next part, which is going to really be redesigning from redesigning the brand to really talking about the learning aspects now. And so learning is going to be mobile, and it's more flexible for students and faculty, which means faculty are going to be all over the world, that you can actually be in different places. Karen's in Florida. I'm in Athens, Greece. We're talking to you today. As if we were your faculty, we would be able to run this class, and you'd have the opportunity to be able to work with us because of our expertise and our knowledge and what our experiences have been. So, of course, you're going to load things, content into the learning management system, and you can make adjustments to the instruction as you go along. Students have access to the best version of a course immediately. You can throw in new resources, you can combine activities together, you can change, you can make things happen as long as everybody's on board with you to be able to take a look at how do you improve the course, what new kinds of information are you going to be able to offer. And the LMS tools are going to continue to provide a wealth of experiences that are going to integrate the AI tools and engage students based on their individual needs, so that not everyone is going to have the exact same experience. Excuse me. With both asynchronous and synchronous and emergent technologies, learning isn't restricted to a physical classroom or lab. LMS tools are going to provide a wealth of experience that will integrate AI tools and engage students based on individual needs. We talked about multiple portals before. AI is there, podcasts are there, apps are there. All of these are going to provide ways for students and teachers to create, document, and archive their learning experiences to share with one another. Faculty and students can work together and learn from anywhere in the world. Greater attention is needed to improve online delivery and performance. Some of this is going to get better with more experience and improved technology and pedagogy. We learned that during the pandemic. A lot of people who were running full face-to-face courses for years suddenly panicked when they had to move everything to an online experience. Karen and I worked with a lot of those people at an institution, a four-year institution, right before the onset, where they needed to change everything for the summer courses to online, and there was a great deal of anxiety in doing so. This opens up a new set of opportunities to benefit both talent acquisition and engagement for institutions. So you can get a variety of instructors, you can get the best instructors. You can really bring in students who are anywhere in the world as well, that begin to take a look at it. Students to take a look at your program. So students who move for work or family circumstances can continue learning. They don't have to drop out of your institution. They don't even have to drop out of your class. They simply move to online, and they can finish things up as they need to. And we know that there are more part-time students who are taking courses online at this point. And at first that was difficult, but now they're getting used to even if it's a hybrid course, they're getting used to what are the best experiences that they can have. So they were less experienced with online delivery than the full-time online students, but that mindset on students has changed. Part of what we really want to take a look at is what this self-titled concept that I created was called the Amazon effect. And we all learned that we could simply look at Amazon or look at a store of your choice at that point. You could shop for goods and have it the same afternoon or the next day. People have gotten to the point where they don't want to wait or run around from place to place to place looking for something anymore. They want to find it online, order it, get it, and they don't have to do any more. We made the access easier. We gave them an online or an on-ramp for shopping. Now, I'm not saying that institutions or higher education is shopping, but people are looking for ways that they can get into a program, a great program, and it's going to work for them because of the ease of access and what it's going to be able to do that. People are using YouTube to learn immediately. You have a problem with the plumbing, with a pipe that's leaking in your sink, it'll show you instantly. You need to change the stopper in your toilet tank. You go to YouTube, it shows you how to do it instantaneously. You don't have to wait a week for the plumber to be able to get to your house. All right, Karen, let's skip on to the next one where we continue talking about the learning. And so course design is going to need to improve to better align the course outcomes, the assessments, and activities as they're aligning with industry and national standards. Students want to see a personal connection with the learning. They want to know that what they're doing is getting them to where they want to be able to go. Improving access for all students and engaging learners through inclusion, diversity, cultural experiences will increase course completion, and that's why they're there. Faculty-centered courses changing to student-centered courses, and we've talked about that for a number of years now, to promote the concept of students completing courses, not for the faculty. It's not that whole, what do I need to do for you to make you happy so I can move on? But really, they want something that's rewarding for themselves. All right. Here, let's take a look at, you've got that up there, thank you. The past learning was mainly focused on the cognitive domain. And so as we begin to take a look at what that meant was, it's still important. Cognitive is still critically important, but it's really got to be compared or paired with the affective domain. So what we discovered with our work with hundreds of faculty during the pandemic is that learning needs to be more holistic in its approach. We knew that already. When we talked with a lot of faculty at both 2-year and 4-year institutions, they told us that the cognitive was great, but they also wanted these other pieces to be included with that. So we went with the deep model that uses both the cognitive and affective, and I'll show you more about that in the future. They want to be able to collect feedback by asking students what they need to better learn. And this creates greater partnership with employers to offer both that learn work opportunity and internships that show learners what the relevance of the information that they're learning in the classroom is to their careers. And this is going to happen in fields where this practice hasn't been used in the past. I told you before that Karen and I worked with several hundred faculty, and we have the online Course Design Institute in which we share the following two examples of what some of the best design practices actually are. So the first one is the taxonomy of significant learning. And that combines both the cognitive and affective domains created by Dee Fink a while ago. Dee actually wrote the foreword for our book. And faculty have identified the skills they want students to have as they enter the job market. Industry partners have shared what they need. So when you're looking at the pie chart in front of you, you'll see the cognitive on the right, the affective on the left. So yes, we still need foundational knowledge. They need to apply that material. They need to integrate it with other material and content that they're learning, maybe that they're choosing, that they're able to put together, that they're going to be able to use to be able to advance their careers. However, there's the other side. There's the human dimensions of getting to know yourself better and others better. There's the caring and valuing. What is it that becomes important to you? How do you buy in and create a value and worth system that increases your self-esteem? And the piece that I think that we've been very deficit at is sort of this whole learning how to learn piece. How is it that you need to learn and move forward and take this together, because this is lifelong learning. This isn't going to be just simply learn this and get done and get your award and get out of the institution. It's really going to be, how are you going to keep coming back to this and learning more, because you're going to need to, the way things are changing. So if you go to the next slide, we'll take a look at the fact that there are two sides to this whole piece. The left side of this cycle of course design really talks about the planning and design stages. And we get an opportunity to see that. And Karen, on the next one, we really begin to take a look at, on the right-hand side, the assessment and reflection stages. So this is, again, where is it that we assess what it is that we say that we're going to be doing? We know that we've got a great course. We've got the assessment all in alignment from student to program to institutions. And then how, as faculty and instructional designers, do we really take a look at our courses and see what's going well, what's not going as well? And we design a professional development plan that talks about learning how to learn. The last part of this is really talking about the individualization or individualizing learning. So one, it motivates students. And in order to motivate students, designers of significant learning experiences need to provide opportunities for learners to sort of choose their own adventure from a set of framed experiences. The more student choice that there is, it doesn't mean everything is just a, hey, come on in and learn what you want to learn type of thing. But how can they demonstrate the outcomes and yet do it in a way that is familiar to them, that pushes them, that makes them advance, uses the skills that they're going to be able to use in the workplace? How do we create that so that they're highly motivated? This also offers greater freedom of choice for students, and they get to have a greater buy-in, which will motivate themselves and remain engaged in the courses. An example of this could be culturally responsive pedagogy. How do you not just learn about all the white astronomers that took place in an astronomy course that I certainly had, but how do you learn about cultures all around the world that studied the stars long before these people advanced theories and ideas and proved them in Europe during, the Renaissance and beyond? Also, as I said before, it really provides student choice in learning new content. What is it that's going to interest you? What do you want? Why do you come to this course? Have you actually created any outcomes for students so that they have some buy-in in what they're going to be doing in the course, and so that they're really motivated to be able to say, hey, this is great, I'm learning about this, but I also get the opportunity to learn about something that really is important to me and that I've always wondered about, or that I should be wondering about in the work that I'm going to be doing. So working with students where they are and moving them to achieve new experiences with course outcomes is an opportunity for all students to succeed. And for the advanced students, you can even provide a deeper dig and deeper experiences. All right. So Karen, got a question. Go ahead and ask that.
So now we'd like you to pause the recording and reflect for a few minutes or a few seconds. How do you provide choice for learners to choose their own learning adventure? How do you currently have your students create their own learning outcomes for your course? These would be outcomes that would supplement the course outcomes, their own individualized outcomes. So we'll take just a few seconds here and reflect, please.
One of the nice things before you move on to badges and stuff, Karen, one of the nice things about this whole thing is that, again, you don't have to get these outcomes approved through the curriculum committee. You don't have to take them to the standards group. You don't have to do anything with them. They're great for the students themselves, and it individualizes the course for them.
We're going to talk about badges and micro-credentials. The future of higher ed is student-centered because the students will have a greater voice in designing their learning, either through individualize their lifelong learning, achieving it through taking courses they need to work, deciding how much they need and when they need it, using multiple portals for obtaining and achieving this learning. But as designers of learning experience, let's examine micro-learning, badges, micro and stackable credentials as ways to motivate students. Chunking learning into modules is one way for students to better understand and retain content. Okay. Badges provide evidence of thinking and learning. These artifacts are milestones on their lifelong learning journey. They can offer a way to document what has been learned and serve as a tangible marker of achievement. Earning badges can also demonstrate the mastery of outcomes, competencies, and concepts for other institutions and employers. So they remain, like it says on the slide, digital mileposts on this learning journey. Documents everything learned and serves as that marker of achievement and demonstrates things for employers or other institutions or for the student themselves. Badges provide a great deal of information. They always include the name of the organization issuing it, some contact information, description of the outcomes and competencies for their certificate, the date on what it was earned and sometimes when it expires, and evidence of the learning that took place. So these are very important meta features that are inside your badges. And those are examples of a few of our online Course Design Institute type badges, our OCDI ones. Badges can show a student how earned experience in academic institutional learning or workshops, volunteer, community service work, they can attach them to their portfolios or to their resumes, especially, or to their online signatures. They can document specific learning as one of the most valuable attributes of using badges. And it demonstrates all student learning, multiple portals that make up their lifelong learning. Badges, or another term is ADCs, which is alternative digital credentials, are growing and permanent force. Okay. Large numbers of these are being offered by universities and corporations. Traditional transcripts are not serving the current workforce. Except accrediting agencies are demanding evidence of learning outcomes. So these are all things we have to think about. Young adults are demanding shorter, more workplace relevant learning with immediate delivery. Open education is demanding some sort of accomplishment. Okay. Employers' hiring practices are increasingly based on digital searches, and international ecosystems are developing to support these alternative digital credentials. Creating badges through application tools such as Credly, Badger Backpack, and Badge OS make it easier than ever. Open Badges has created guidelines for the framework of badge creation. Learners can keep their achievements private or display them by sharing them on social media, portfolios, resumes, learning environments, or websites. Micro-credentials will allow students to earn short credentials, which are focused to provide both those in-demand skills with career experience. This can be a benefit for students returning to advance in the workplace or move to a new career opportunity. When designed well, these combine new skill sets while performing the credit for prior learning and current skill sets to help with your career experience. Stackable badges can be a pathway to earn certification or even a degree, such as an award. Advantage, students can start and stop as needed as their life dictates. And all current students or past students who have worked to earn stackable credentials can continue their learning on their own schedule, providing credentialing hasn't changed within an industry or that badges and micro-credentials haven't expired. Professionals are deciding to learn elsewhere more often. They want learning that is immediate. They don't want to wait for beginning of the next term. Learning can be cheaper and faster, taking modules they need rather than the entire program. Learning can be delivered online for their convenience. Employers and smaller organizations might be more willing to pay for the learning while employees are on the clock. So these are some of the challenges for institutions to be able to make their learning more flexible and more accessible than in past models. Immediacy is the key. Waiting for the formality of getting into an institution, waiting for the next semester, having to go to class or navigating to the court, getting through the barriers of institutional navigation is proving to be a negative for many prospective students. Perhaps develop online ramps or on-ramps for students to simplify the process to learn content, earn badges, and stack their credentials needed to be streamlined. Deliver online through devices of choice. Access can be immediate as needed from anywhere. And then develop quality experiences through design, engaging, and memorable pointing to the way students will do in their future. Changing the mindsets of faculty and stakeholders. That's a big one. So this is some of the strengths and challenges of micro-credentials, okay? As you can see, there's just as many strengths as there are challenges. Many more challenges perhaps on the academic side, whereas industry has been very willing to adapt some of these. Institutions are starting to. And now we have a question for you that I'd like you to pause the recording and reflect. How are you currently using badges in your courses? In what ways is your program and institution designing learning to include micro-credentialing and stackable badges? I mean, if they aren't yet thinking about it, they should be. Now I'd like to thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to learn more and have a deeper dive, like I said, we do have our book online, and you can go to Stylus and you can take a photo of this slide, and you can get a 20% discount on the online book. If the book is not enough and you want to look at one of our courses, we do have a deeper dive with online self-paced courses, and there's 13 of them right now, and there's an ebook and a certificate, and there's also a discount code for any of the courses online. Synergy 20. So you're welcome to take a photo of this slide too. And Zayla, do you have any questions to wrap up part one?
I think that's great. If you if you take a look at those educational courses, you do get a copy of the ebook with it, and you also get a certificate of completion afterwards. So it really is learning at your own pace. You can sign up tomorrow and start learning immediately, which is nice. You don't have to wait for the new semester. So we're really taking a look at the future of education as we believe it's going to be moving. So at any rate, wish you the very best. We're going to do part 2 in another presentation in just a moment. You can access that in the link in the same spot where you got this one. So thanks, everybody. Hope you have a great time, and we look forward to getting to talk to you. Email us if you like, and with any questions. We really enjoy getting a chance to speak with you and talk with you more about any of the topics.